In a world where emotions intertwine with secrets and dilemmas, a story unfolds that is capable of touching the deepest chords of the soul. This is a tale of love, betrayal, and decisions that forever change the lives of its characters. Prepare to be immersed in a whirlwind of passions and intrigues, where every twist is unpredictable, and the ending will leave you in a state of profound reflection. It all begins on an unremarkable evening. Dmitri, returning home after a long separation, is met with an unsettling emptiness. His wife, Yana, has been urgently called to the hospital, leaving the house unattended. Peeking into the bedroom, he discovers his sister-in-law, Natalia, lying on the bed. Stunned, he asks her what she is doing there. With a sly smile, Natalia explains that, knowing Yana was in a hurry, she decided to keep her company in her absence. After all, Dmitri wasn't there anyway, and she saw nothing wrong with staying. Dmitri, flustered, tries to hide his surprise and remain calm. After a brief exchange, Natalia playfully shoves Dmitri in the chest, teasing, "Since you started talking, don't stop, I don't mind." Dmitri feels awkward but tries to take it as a joke. However, the casual conversation suddenly takes an unexpected turn when Natalia asks a question that leaves Dmitri speechless. "Dmitri, if we had met before Yana, would you have married me?" Dmitri freezes in silence. He tries to joke his way out of it, to avoid answering, but Natalia is persistent. She confesses that she has been attracted to him since the day Dmitri and Yana got married. She speaks openly about her thoughts and admits she doesn't want to miss the opportunity that has presented itself. Dmitri, still in shock, tries to explain that it's a misunderstanding, that he mistook her for Yana. But Natalia proposes a deal: she will keep their secret if he visits her from time to time. Dmitri finds himself trapped. He dreads imagining Yana's reaction if she were to learn the truth. Feeling he has no choice, he agrees but sets a condition: Natalia must never tell Yana anything. From that moment on, a secret affair begins between Dmitri and Natalia. Each time he returns from business trips, Dmitri first goes to Natalia's apartment before returning home. She greets him with warmth and care, cooking his favorite dishes. In her company, Dmitri feels comfortable and at ease. This situation begins to sow doubts in Dmitri's mind. Is he truly happy with Yana? Over time, their meetings become more frequent, and Dmitri delves deeper into this whirlwind of passions. Natalia, in turn, grows more in love and devoted, striving to please Dmitri in every way. She begins to believe that he will eventually leave Yana for her. One day, during another visit to Natalia, Dmitri learns news that turns everything upside down: Natalia is pregnant with twins. Dmitri is speechless. He never thought such a thing was possible and experiences a mixed range of emotions: fear, joy, and confusion. Natalia, on the other hand, beams with happiness, asserting that they will be happy together. Dmitri begins to ponder how this situation will affect his life with Yana. Can he live with the secret of having children with his wife's sister? But Natalia is confident about the future. She believes that, in time, Dmitri will choose her. She feels that her life is finally heading in the direction she always dreamed of. However, the situation begins to weigh on Dmitri, who finds himself torn between his duty to Yana and the new reality with Natalia. Meanwhile, Yana notices changes in Dmitri's behavior. He becomes distant, avoiding heart-to-heart conversations. Yana decides to get to the bottom of it and begins to suspect something is amiss. One night, during her shift, she peeks into the break room to relax a bit. Opening the door, she witnesses a shocking scene. Dmitri and Natalia are together, and their relationship appears to be very intimate. Unnoticed, Yana records what is happening on her phone, feeling betrayed and devastated. She says nothing at that moment but returns home with a firm intention to talk to Dmitri. The next morning, Yana demands an explanation from Dmitri. She shows him the video and asks what is going on between him and Natalia. Dmitri tries to deny it, but Yana is unyielding and demands the truth. Eventually, he confesses everything, starting from the night he found Natalia in his bed and ending with their secret meetings. Yana is crushed. She demands a divorce, saying she can no longer trust him. Dmitry tries to apologize, but Yana is unwavering in her decision. She tells him he can be with Natalia if that's what he truly wants. Dmitry realizes that he has lost Yana's trust and that he has no choice but to accept the consequences of his actions. After the divorce, Dmitry and Natalia decide to start a new life in another city. He gets a job transfer and moves into a new apartment, where he begins to build a new life with Natalia and their future children. Gradually, Dmitry starts to adjust to his new reality, but he is still plagued by guilt. He understands that he lost Yana, the woman he loved, because of his thoughtless actions. Now he is bound to Natalia and the children. He tries to adapt, but the emptiness never leaves him. What will be the fate of these characters? Will they find happiness despite their mistakes? You will find the answers to these questions by seeing this captivating story through to the end. Dmitry gradually settles into the new city, adapting to the unfamiliar surroundings. Natalia experiences genuine joy, especially with the arrival of their long-awaited twins. She is convinced that she now has everything she ever dreamed of: a cozy home, a loving Dmitry, charming children, and a promising future. However, for Dmitry, the situation looks somewhat different. Despite outwardly accepting the changes, he cannot shake a feeling of inner emptiness, as if something important is missing. Memories of time spent with Yana, heartfelt conversations, and the special bond that existed between them before everything became unbearably complicated, resurface in his mind. Dmitry now begins to realize that his relationship with Yana was much deeper and more significant than he had assumed. Natalia, in turn, notices that Dmitry is not showing the same emotional involvement in their relationship as before. This instills in her a sense of insecurity and the fear that, deep down, he still harbors love for Yana. She tries to hide her doubts by showering Dmitry with even more care and attention, but he seems increasingly distant and withdrawn. Over time, the complexities of their new family routine begin to exert significant pressure on Dmitry and Natalia. The demands of caring for twins require colossal effort, and Dmitry, as the sole breadwinner, feels the heavy burden of responsibility. He is forced to spend more and more time at work to ensure financial stability, which further alienates him from his family. Natalia increasingly feels lonely and abandoned, leading to deep disappointment. She had dreamed of a happy and carefree life with Dmitry, but reality proved to be far more prosaic. She begins to understand that relationships are a complex and multifaceted process, and that Dmitry is still living in the past. For Dmitry, the moments when Yana's image resurfaces in his memory become increasingly vivid and intrusive. He begins to realize that he lost something priceless, and no effort can compensate for this loss. Comparisons between the two women become inevitable, and Dmitry becomes increasingly entangled in contradictory feelings, torn between what he has now and what he left behind. Several months later, Dmitry is caught off guard by a phone call from an old friend, who informs him that Yana has also moved to this city for work. This news pierces him like an electric shock, reawakening all the feelings he had so desperately tried to suppress. Natalia notices that Dmitry is greatly distressed by something and begins to suspect that he still cannot forget Yana. Jealousy and insecurity flare up in her once again, only intensifying the tension in their relationship. Soon, fate presents Dmitry with an unexpected encounter with Yana at a local supermarket. Their gazes meet, and a palpable tension fills the air. It is their first meeting since their separation, and both feel how strong their feelings for each other still are. Dmitry tries to hide his nervousness and asks a formal question about how she is doing. Yana responds politely, but her eyes reveal the pain she still carries. The conversation is short and restrained, but this chance encounter deeply moves Dmitry, forcing him to realize that he still cares for Yana. He understands that he never truly got over the breakup, and this only intensifies his depressed state. Natalia notices that after meeting Yana, Dmitry has become even more distant and withdrawn. She tries to talk to him about her feelings, but Dmitry avoids it at all costs, fearing it will provoke a conflict. He naively believes that by hiding his true feelings, he is protecting Natalia and the family they have created together, but she has long suspected what is happening. In one tense moment, Natalia decides to have an honest conversation with Dmitry, directly asking if he still loves Yana. Dmitry hesitates, but his gaze speaks for itself. Natalia feels overwhelmed by a wave of anger, pain, and disappointment. She begins to cry, pouring out all her accumulated grievances, how she was always just a second choice for him, how she never felt truly loved, and how he never stopped thinking about Yana, even after everything they had been through together. Dmitry tries to justify himself and apologize, but Natalia is in a state of deep emotional distress. She realizes that reality has turned out to be cruel and far from her rosy expectations. Even with the children and the new life they built, Dmitry still holds love for Yana in his heart. After the painful confrontation with Natalia, Dmitry falls into deep contemplation about his life and the decisions that led him to this sorrowful moment. He realizes that the passion he felt for Natalia was merely a fleeting infatuation, and by succumbing to temptation, he destroyed something truly important and valuable. He also understands the full weight of his betrayal. He loves Yana and always has. These thoughts haunt him, and he is tormented by the question, is it ever possible to get Yana back and start over? However, he understands that he now has children in his life, and he bears a huge responsibility towards them that he cannot simply cast aside. He finds himself in a complex dilemma, unsure how to reconcile his feelings with his current circumstances. To conclude this difficult story, Dmitry decides to meet Yana for a final, honest conversation. They meet in a quiet and cozy cafe on the outskirts of the city, and for the first time in a long while, Dmitry fully opens up to Yana, speaking of his feelings and regrets. He sincerely apologizes for everything she had to endure and confesses that, despite everything, he still loves her. Yana, in turn, listens carefully, without interrupting. She says that she misses him too, but she has already begun the process of healing and rebuilding her life. She admits that their meeting touched her feelings, but now she needs to think about herself and her future happiness. She says that forgiveness is an important part of this process, but the past cannot be changed. Dmitry understands that this is their final farewell. They embrace one last time, and Dmitry feels that, despite all the pain and disappointment, he has finally found inner peace. He realizes that even if he is not destined to be with Yana, the love he felt for her was real and deep, and he can move forward, keeping that memory in his heart. After this fateful encounter, Dmitry's worldview undergoes a radical transformation, and he returns to the fold of his new family with a refreshed outlook on life. He makes a firm decision to become an exemplary father to his children and to treat Natalia with the respect she deserves, even if their union will not burn with the passion he once dreamed of. Dmitry takes on the honorable mission of creating a secure and joyful home for his twins, recognizing that every choice carries consequences, and now his main task is to build his life on a solid foundation of truth and responsibility. Natalia, despite her emotional fragility, resolves to give her children a complete family. Overcoming pain and disappointment, she comes to an agreement with Dmitry. They will together build a healthy and respectful relationship, providing their children with the love and care they so desperately need. Thus begins their shared journey toward creating a strong and loving family, founded on mutual understanding and support.